Hello my strong friends. In today's video I'm going to be teaching you how to front squat. In my last week's video we did a deadlift workout that in my deadlift workout I front squatted, and I gave you guys a couple of substitutions for front squats if you cannot yet do them, because they are a really difficult movement and it's to no surprise that people struggle with them all the time. I struggle with them all the time and it took me many years to figure out how to properly front squat. So today I'm going to give you some tips, some instructions, and some advice on how to get your front squat in check, and I'll also go over those substitutions that I mentioned in the last one. If you've ever struggled with the front squat, this is going to be the perfect video for you. So if you do enjoy it, please do give the video a like. And if you're new here and want to see more, then subscribe to my channel on Meg Squats. I upload videos about lifting and getting strong and nutrition stuff every Friday. The front squat is such a pain in the ass. You may be wondering, why would you ever want to do it anyway? It's a great movement for quad strength and hypertrophy. So if you're a power lifter and doing something like a low bar squat, we'll talk about the difference in a little bit, you will get a greater quad emphasis with the front squat position. So it is a great quad builder. It's great for overall strength so that you can balance out your physique, especially if you're deadlifting a lot and need to do more quad movements. And also for the sport of weightlifting, of course, the higher your front squat, the higher you'll be able to stand up with a clean. So front squat is a very specific movement if you are a weightlifter. Next, let's just go over the difference between a front squat and a high bar squat, so a high bar back squat and a low bar. In my how to back squat video, I do discuss the difference between this, and you will see a lot of similar kind of things to look at when you're distinguishing between the three. So of course, the bar placement is different. In the front squat, your bar is in front of you, right? So that load distribution means that you have a change in your torso, your hip and knee angle, so that you can keep the bar centered and over your midfoot. You always want to look to get the bar centered over your midfoot so that you have the most support and the most mechanically sound position to squat the most weight. So that more upright torso in the front squat position means that you'll have greater knee flexion and lower hip flexion. So when there's more knee flexion, that tells you that the movement will be more quad dominant, because the quad needs to extend and flex the knee even more. So you can see here the difference between your front squat and the greater knee flexion that you get, and then your low bar squat, which you get very little knee flexion. Your shins are parallel, your knees don't really go over the toes as much, and your hips are going way back. This also tends to require greater ankle dorsiflexion, so the position that you're in requires further forward knee travel than a regular squat. So this is the reason why you'll see lifters use a heel to help them get into that deeper ankle and deeper knee position. So that also answers the question for people who wonder why I high bar in one shoe and then I low bar in another shoe. It's because my ankle doesn't really need that extra support, that extra height, so that I get into a better knee position. One lifter is low bar squatting, it's likely that they won't need a heeled weightlifting shoe. While there are plenty of people who can get into a proper front squat position without a heel, definitely you'll see this in CrossFit athletes especially, you're much more likely to see a lifter need or use a weightlifting shoe here. Now that you know why you front squat and what the differences are between the front squat and back squat and so on, we're going to talk about how to even do it. So of course, we want to first set up the bar on the rack. Usually I will make this a little bit higher, about the same height as a low bar position. One way to do this is I just take my thumbs and put them next to my delts, so kind of poke my delts with my thumbs, and then wherever my hands reach, that's about where I want my bar to be. You're then going to grab the bar and get into the front rack position. The bar placement is going to be sort of on your shoulders, but actually more specifically, it's going to be behind your delts. This, you may find, is the most difficult position to get into because the bar is kind of like in your throat. It's behind your clavicle, behind your delts. So you do need to get really nice and cozy with the bar. It won't be an intuitive position. It won't be a very comfortable position, but that is going to be the most secure and best position for yourself. Again, your hand placement, if you extend your thumbs out from your delts, you're gonna just grab there. Your foot width in the squat will be a little bit more narrow, closer to parallel than you would be in other squat positions. So keep in mind here that while I'm giving tips on positions and where each body part should be, every lifter will be different and you may find that you have a specific condition or restriction. So keep in mind that you may be different than the advice that I give here, or you may find that a certain position works a little bit better for you in this moment right now. Now we're finally going to unrack the bar, step back, and then start our descent. So during the descent, you want to maintain that upright torso that we already talked about. So make sure that you're not reaching your hips back. Your hips are going to shoot straight down in between your heels. This is different advice than what people give when you're talking about a front squat where you go down and back. You're kind of hinging at the hip. You want to try and drop your hips right between your heels, like I mentioned. You don't want your hips to reach back at all. Of course, be sure to control your descent on the way down, and once you hit depth and you're ready to drive up, you will find that you need to focus on driving your elbows up and out to prevent that flexion in your back. So keep your core tight, make sure that you're breathing and bracing, and squat back up to the start position. There are a ton of limiting factors in the front squat, so I'm just going to touch on a few of them. So you might find when you get up to a bar and start trying to front squat that you have no idea what is wrong. So these might be some of the issues that you will experience. These are the most common things. So the first is ankle mobility, like we talked about. This squat requires the most ankle mobility, so you might want to look at what kind of footwear you're wearing, or if you're not ready to invest in a pair of weightlifting shoes, I think that's fine. You can just use a few micro plates in your gym while you're getting comfortable with the front squat. You'll also find that you need some upper back mobility. This squat will tax your back and your core, so your core and your back need to be strong. Your shoulders need to be quite mobile in the front squat. You do need to achieve a lot of external rotation so that you get in a strong position. You may want to consider a general shoulder health and warm up, which is something that you wouldn't consider warming up before a squat in particular, but for the front squat, you definitely want to make sure that your wrists and your shoulders and your joints are all mobile. Wrist mobility may be another limiting factor, and there are a couple ways to get around this. You might want to consider doing the front squat if you're at that level, if you're ready to front squat but your wrists are holding you back. Try this trick where we front squat using the straps to hold on to. And the last section of this video, I am going to touch on the progressions that you can start to incorporate into your program or incorporate into your practice with lifting. And we're gonna start, if you're starting from the very beginning, you do want to work on a goblet squat. So if you have a kettlebell or a dumbbell, try to work on that goblet squat. You're going to be increasing your core strength there and getting in that upright torso position that we want in the front squat. You can also take it in the direction of more specific with a front rack kettlebell squat. So you can use kettlebells that are the same weight. In this one here, I have two different size kettlebells that I'm using. And again, this is just gonna keep you in that upright torso. You also find that this position will help you with your shoulder and wrist mobility a little bit while you're getting used to the barbell. Another one that I love is the cable front squat. So you can use an array of different attachments here with the cable machine. This is gonna be great because you can load this as heavy as your cable machine goes as you're getting heavier and as you're working up your strength to start squatting the barbell. Another one you might want to consider practicing to get into and mimic that perfect position with the barbell is the zombie squat. A zombie squat is where you look like a zombie, not a Walking Dead zombie, a cartoon zombie. You know that your barbell is in the right position and it's behind your delt. Whenever you can get into this one, you know that that's secure. Your hands are really just there for extra support and for comfort and for strength so that you can push up through them. So the zombie squat is going to be something that you want to work on to mimic that position. And then of course, once you've mastered the zombie squat, you're probably really close to mastering the front squat. So you can start with a PVC pipe, you can start with a barbell, you can start with a training bar. And yeah, don't put pressure on yourself to front squat a lot now. You will find that you will progress much faster if you get the form down. Not saying that your form needs to be perfect, but you do always want to be striving for technical efficiency and striving to make your front squat prettier, because the prettier your front squat is, the bigger your quads will grow. And that, my friends, is a fact. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. That is all from me on how to front squat. Hopefully this was a helpful guide for you. If you enjoyed it and if you did find it helpful, please do give the video a like for me. And if you're new here, please do subscribe to my channel. I post videos every Friday about strength training, nutrition, and all kinds of cool stuff. So subscribe. Okay, I will see you guys in the next video.